Fear is a phenomenon that everyone will eventually experience, whether it be fear of spiders, fear of heights, or just being scared of the dark. Some however love the thrill of being scared, like watching a horror movie or a horror game, you know, get your adrenaline pumping. I like playing horror games a lot. I mean, my favourite games are Resident Evil 4, Dead Space 2, Area 51, and the list goes on. Today I wanted to play F.E.A.R given the theme of this video, and to be honest, it's not that scary at all. It's mostly go horror porn than visual horror or audio horror, which I'll get to that later on. This game spawned 2 more games, the second one being my favourite, and the third one is like Dead Space 3. It has too much action, has some co-op elements, and not enough horror. So here's the first installment of the game I'm going to talk about, F.E.A.R, that has nothing to do with the emotion itself. So basically whatever I said at the beginning was bullshit. Also, the title for this game is an acronym. It stands for First Encounter Assault Recon, F.E.A.R. One misconception I had was I thought this game was going to be horror focused rather than action focused, but I was wrong. Doing some research, I learned that the developers of this game, Monolith Productions Directors of Technology Kevin Stevens, said that the concept was to make a first person style action movie in where you become the star. The team decided to make the protagonist silent, trying to immerse you when you play in the game, since you see through the eyes and see what the character sees. Although for me there's too much action and not enough fear. I'm not asking for any face jump scares, but just give me something. The developers didn't want the scares to be outlandish and in your face, even though most of the times in the first few missions you see Ghostface right on the screen, but nevertheless the horror they wanted to achieve was subtle horror, trying to get under your skin, I guess. I mean, it might work for some, but definitely not for me. Most of the time I'm shooting at soldiers. The atmosphere was great at the beginning levels because you see what you're dealing with, but then in the middle parts of the games, I'd say interval 4 or 5 onwards, the star of the game Alma takes the backseat with these soldiers. Now that's not a bad thing, simply because the AI is fantastic in this game. I'll talk about that later on, but like when I play all the F.E.A.R games, F.E.A.R 2 scared me the most. It drained me, mainly because Alma was tormenting you frequently. It had clever and unpredictable jump scares, and it had audio scares as well. Like when all locker doors slammed simultaneously in the school, my heart dropped, and in this 6-hour game only one part scared me when I first played this game, and it's this part. And this is my 3rd playthrough. I know when she's gonna pop out. The audio cue didn't bring any tension, as most of the time the game is silent, just you and your imagination. When there's a shootout, the music starts to play, and when you kill them all the music stops. Well, for some reason the music started to play by itself, and that shook me up, as I was expecting a ghost or anything to pop out, but no. In one of the rooms the music started to play, and it gets quieter and quieter when you leave, and louder when you go back in. It was weird. The graphics for this game is impressive. It still holds up today. It reminds me of Half-Life with its style. It's very detailed, so much so that when you shoot anything you see bullets on the floor or walls and dust particles. Oh boy, the dust particles. This can be a nuisance because most of the time it's hard to see what's around you, and when you're surrounded from all sides and shoot all your bullets, missing most of them, the room will become clouded till the dust settles down. The environment however is bland, because I've seen it all before. Warehouse, facility, urban rundown houses, and all that sorts. It isn't nothing new or got me scanning the environment for intricate details other than when bullets affect the walls. Well, I guess it's time to talk about the little child in a red dress, Alma, or the adult nude version of Alma. Doesn't matter either way, as all I remember is her screaming in slow motion like 5 times. Ah yes, Alma, the scariest creature to grace the platform of video games or movie alike. To be honest, it's not that scary. I mean, she has power to disintegrate people into steaming hot bloody skeletons, and that she's a powerful psychic with daddy issues. Those are the ones you need to look out for. When she shows up, it's her time, and you'll definitely remember her at the back of your mind when you're progressing throughout the story. Her design or concept is very Japanese inspired, if you couldn't tell already. Like here's the girl from The Ring. Oh shit, it's the wrong movie. Oh Jesus. I thought it was the right one. Let me check. Oh, I mean Sadako, the Rain Girl, or Kayako, the Grudge Lady, all of these ladies have one thing in common. They all need to use Head and Shoulders, but the main aesthetic is the hair covering their faces, as with nude adult Alma, but not the child version. Monolith Production lead designer Craig Hubbard stated that being chased by a guy with meat cleaver, that given some times you want to beat the dog shit out of him. Oh yeah, I can't wait to fight Jason with his machete, Freddy with his butterfingers, or Michael Myers with his kitchen knife, but a little girl can wipe out a squad in an instant. Oh no, what can he do? Well, I know, since I'm an advocate for gender equality. See? It's not that hard to swing fist at a child now, is it? I mean, if it was a dull vision Alma then, astaghfirullah, put your clothes back on. Would they at least show some modesty? I need some doner kebab because girl Ethan's a pencil. And that's my opinion of the first F.E.A.R game. Alma isn't shown as much, but when the hood flickers and there she is walking slowly or standing still, it's creepy and the atmosphere changes for a brief second, but it's not that terrifying to a point where I was like, oh god, I need to take a break, I'm scared. Unlike the sequel, even on a psychological level this game fails on that, because when Alma shows up, it's up to you to move the camera and look at her. Sometimes I move too fast unintentionally, and when she shows up and act all ghostly like, I just push her aside to look for ammo for my next encounter. Lead designer Craig Hubbard said that in an interview that horror is extremely fragile. You can kill it by making the atmosphere cliche, or you can make it ambiguous, balancing both elements. He wanted to give the players clues as what was happening, but in the end you will feel uncertain, and that part is dumb. Not knowing what to do is like, why bother doing it in the first place? Do I even get a reward, or do I even get a satisfying story? I want to talk about the horror part of what he said, because everyone is built different. Some are easily scared than others, and some games are riddled with cliche, like Outlast. The amount of jump scares that aren't obvious is what makes this game fun, but eventually you get over them because they're just boo with loud suspense noises. On the other hand, Resident Evil 4 has action, but the horror is mixed with beautiful soundtrack and scenario that are unavoidable, like the Garrador part in the castle or any regenerators you encounter. Even though I've played this game on every console it came out, these scenarios are timeless because it can't go so wrong so fast. So those are two horror games that are opposite one another. One has longevity while the other was a trend that when played over and over, the scares are just noises. God, I love Resident Evil 4. The game came out 3 years apart for different systems. On Xbox 360, it came out late 2006, October and November for North America and Europe. PlayStation 3 had it the same month, just different dates. That came out in April 2007. And same goes for PC, that came out in October 2005. And for the first time, the game came out early in Europe, which is a rarity, even though it came out one day earlier. F.E.A.R had multiple publishers publishing the game, which were one of the games and Vivendi University game. So whenever I look at my cover, it says F.E.A.R, so I'm guessing that's the publisher for Europe. It came out on PC first, that's a no-brainer if you played Half-Life. You can see the similarities, both of them are PC games. There was an issue during the time it came out on PC, and that is needed high specs quality shit to play it. I've experienced some frame drops massively when you have a shootout, and I have the latest PS3 super plastic red crap version. When I read the reviews for that time, I just don't understand what most of the people are saying about the horror elements. Like IGN stated that the environments are well crafted to keep you on edge, and playing the game for a few hours can be draining. GameSpot called the horror effective, and the game can be emotionally exhausting. Am I playing the wrong game? Like I already said, the horror isn't that good, or is it just that some people were a bunch of pussies? Oh look, a cat. With all the content this game had, one level was taken away, which was a car chase sequence. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way the developers wanted, and they scrapped the idea, even though it took them 2 months to develop it. There's a bonus level that I don't know if it's exclusive for the PlayStation, or is out on Xbox and PC, and all that is that you have to reach the 10th floor without dying. You don't have the perks of the protagonist from the main story. Instead, you have a teammate helping you. I didn't finish all of it, so I don't know if he can die or not. There's an instant action mission that gives you 50 minutes of non-stop action. Also, F.E.A.R received 2 expansion packs called F.E.A.R Extraction Point and F.E.A.R Perseus Mandate. It was developed by TimeGate Studios and released on October 2006 for the first expansion, and 1 year later in November 2007 for the second one. These packs was ported to Xbox 360 simultaneously, leaving PlayStation high and dry. I never experienced the multiplayer since I got PlayStation 3 way later in 2010, but from what this game is, I can guess that it includes stuff like Team Deathmatch or Capture the Flag kind of thing, and there's no split screen local play, so that means you have to buy another PS3 to play with someone else. So far I've pretty much talked about why I don't like the horror in this game, or that it's weak. But thank God that is one half of the game, as the other half is gameplay, and this combat just overshadows everything. So let's get ready to be feared. Okay, where do I start? Well, I'll start with what you get, guns and a flashlight, and the real star of the game is reflex. This mechanics is the same as Max Payne's slow-mo, but in a first person style, allowing you to react and show your superhuman abilities. When bullets fly by, you see distortion in the air, giving this cool effect and detail, and this works perfectly with the amount of action there is. It gives you the edge whether if the enemy is far away or too close. You fight hordes of them, and if you don't use the reflex meter then you die super quick. The AI don't screw around. Once they have you on their sights, then they won't stop shooting at you till you're dead. I used it quite a lot to make it easier, and the good thing is that it regens slowly. However, you can't spam the slow-mo because it will eventually run out. The developer was inspired by John Woo Hard Boiled, in which inspired Max Payne and then Stranglehold. Lead designer Craig Hubbard again wanted the player to feel like an action hero. The other part of combat or exploration is the flashlight. Now I don't like what the devs did. Basically the flashlight is on a timer, and when the meter is empty, the flashlight shuts off till it refills. This was a nuisance since most of the level, or when you're trying to flank the soldiers, I need to see where I'm going, and it takes the immersion away, cause I have to wait till the light is back on. The health system is old school, as you need to find health packs to refill your health to a certain amount, and in total you can carry 10 with you, plus you can equip armor when you find them scattered around. Unfortunately, the armor you pick up don't give you 100%, instead they give you like 30%. When exploring the level, you see a syringe gun that will permanently boost your health by 5% and extend your reflex meter by a small amount. The level design or layout gives you varieties on how you can tackle the situation, either go gun blazing or just go gun blazing. I mean, make sure to watch your back at all times, and if you see a vent you can smash the grate and kill most of them off guard. You could vault over windows, anything that's below the waistline, lean on either side to shoot behind walls, only exposing your head like Rainbow Siege style, climb stairs and do a little bit of platforming. Like in this part I forgot what to do, as there's a big hole in the middle of the building, and the surrounding windows have enemies with beam-like weapons shooting at you that are really strong. Anyways, you think the correct way to go around this obstacle is to jump over it, right? Well, kinda, cause I died over and over, thinking what am I doing wrong? Then I saw a plank of wood sticking out of the floor. I jumped on it and landed perfectly. It worked. Okay, so now a plank of wood can support a fully grown man. Not only that, it isn't obvious till you do it out of experimentation, and that part of the level was stupid. The AI system in this game is no joke. It's one of the best parts of this game. Nobody is a stormtrooper missing shots left and right. They strategize their moves. If you're pinned down by bullets, one of them will sneakily shotgun you from behind like Scarface, or they'll lob a grenade your way, which then you have to move, and when you move, you have to somehow dodge the bullets coming your way, for then to use your health pack and use reflex to help with the difficulty. The soldiers react to flashlight, so you have to think if you want to turn it on to expose yourself or turn it off to give yourself the edge, and they also react to getting shot as well, which is nice. They limp if they take too much damage, or using a shotgun up close, they're split into little pieces and blood is sprayed everywhere. Ew. Enemies can smash through windows looking cool, turn over objects to take cover behind, and shoot at you. There's a ton of unique soldiers. You start with the basic replicas that can take more damage, normal human soldiers that are weak, then all of a sudden you fight Grey Fox's bloody office, and all the machines starts to pop out of nowhere, like this mini tech box thing, and the flying drones that shoot way too much lasers. Like I'm in a rave party, and all of this is thanks to the devs using GOAP, that stands for Goal Oriented Action Planning, and this AI system allows them to plan ahead trying to defeat you, rather than standing there reacting to your body rather than your flashlight or any sound you make. The guns are a mix of fictional and non-fictional, like pistols, shotgun, assault rifles, and submachine gun, rockets, and the futuristic weapons like particle beam and a nail gun. I think that's a nail gun. But the particle beam is one of my favourite weapons to use. It's mostly one shot kill. It basically disintegrates them to a steamy bloody skeleton. And another thing, just don't use grenade recklessly like I did.
Real accident. No injuries have been reported, but emergency workers are still on the scene.
You're allowed to carry 3 guns. I normally use shotgun for close range, assault rifles and submachine gun, and then with those 2 guns I switch up with some special weapons like the particle beam or nail gun, because you will run out of ammo. The melee button for me I didn't use. It's useless because I don't have the time to waste my health to quickly run up to them and smack them on the faces. At the end of the level you have to face against supernatural ghost things. By itself it's a joke, but in Horde they'll bombard you and kill you quickly. You don't even have the time to think what happened. Thank God that they're one hit kill, so just step back and unleash hell on these floating brown poops. And lastly, I want to say this, why is my luck terrible? What do I mean? Well, I started this game with mission select and got halfway, and started again the next day, and I started at the end of the level. Like what the hell, did it not register to autosave? I lost everything. I lost my weapon, my health boosters that permanently give you 5% health every time you find them, and my reflex booster that permanently increases the meter. I lost everything. I couldn't even finish the level in normal mode, so on the last interval 6 mission, I had to start on easy. At least the AI don't mess around. I did experience a glitch, like in one of the levels the elevator didn't work. I killed the guy and the button was working, so I shot all the guys on the ground to see if the body would move. All of them did except one, so my intuition was that I needed to kill myself and try again, and lo and behold, it worked. And another thing that I liked is that sometimes the AI group together, giving you the chance of mowing them down. Listen, the gameplay is bar none the best part of this game, and it's a revolutionary because the AI aren't bullet sponges. The story however is a bit ambiguous. Half of it is being told via exposition, while the other half is being told when you collect laptops that fleshes out the story. Unfortunately, the story isn't that great. You don't care for the people you meet or the people you're trying to protect, although there was this one fat creature that annoyed me. So I'll just give you a brief summary of what the story is like. The story starts with little Alma possessing a guy called Paxton Fettel, a commander of a soldier called Replicas that are a bunch of clones and are telepathically controlled by Paxton himself, and your job is to capture him throughout the game. You start to hallucinate frequently, seeing Alma giving birth and screaming very slowly. Each part of the scene is different, like you see hallway full of blood or the ceiling full of blood with jumpy floating ghosts trying their hardest to scare me. There is one part where Alma is waiting for you and the hallway is covered in fire, so you have no choice but to jump out the window. I thought it was cool. You meet some people, good or bad. You find the engineer Norton Mapes. This fat sack of lad is trying to sabotage the mission by activating turrets and running away from you when you're trying to help him. Luckily, Harlan shoots him when he does his bidding, which then takes him forever to bleed out and magically disappear. Another is a hostage you rescue called Aldous Dumbledore Bishop, who was interrogated by the Replicas about Harlan Wade and his whereabouts. He's escorted by another team and he dies, and the last survivor you escort is Alice Wade. You take her to the elevator but the power goes out. As soon as you leave, Alma is in the lift with her. Then up on the roof you see her but she doesn't remember you leaving the elevator. The helicopter is destroyed and she runs away to the garage and drives off, fearing for her father's safety, only to be captured by Paxton and gets eaten alive. So in summary, everyone dies. And that's the issue I have. Like, why would I bother trying to protect someone or chase after someone I don't even care about? I don't care about the main villain because in this game he doesn't do anything to you. Then halfway you have to find Harlan Wade and extract him as well as his daughter Alice Wade. But like I said, she gets eaten alive and Paxton near the end of the game gets shot by you. And when that happens, the replicas are in sleep mode waiting for you to knock them down. Harlan frees Alma from her prison because of guilt, and the nudist returns the favour by sharing her deep love for her father. You nuke the place by overreacting the reactor and escaping in a helicopter, but in all actuality you should have been dead from the force of the explosion, but nonetheless you and whatever left of your team escapes happily. Alma then comes out of nowhere and RKOs everyone. Now the actual story I liked are hidden in the laptop you find, and the hidden story is that Alma was pregnant and gives birth to a child. It's up to you whether you think that adult Alma got pregnant or the child Alma got pregnant. Either way, it's disgusting. And we don't know who the nonce is, whether she got pregnant by a man or a test tube, it doesn't matter, it's fucked up either way. Her child is none other than Paxton. He gains his mother abilities of telepathy and control the replica, and her father Harlan Wade did nothing while she was, I guess, tortured and experimented on. I don't know if her sister Alice is aware of Alma, but that is irrelevant as Paxton kills his aunt, either being controlled by Alma or doing it himself. But there's a plot twist, you yourself are also the son of Alma. Well, not you, but the point man. She gave birth to 2 sons. If this game came out today, it would have been 2 daughters, but nevertheless that's why she has a strong affinity for you, because she wants to be close to her son and probably wants to kill you because she's psychotic and hungry. And that's my review of F.E.A.R for the PlayStation 3. I'm split down the middle. The horror is bare bone minimal and the atmosphere at the beginning was good, but it just got dull later on. The action is fantastic, one of the best parts of the game, and all in all it's not that scary. There's way too much shooting to be classed as a horror. I mean, you have more bullets than a freaking army, and the atmosphere wasn't there. Compared to the second game, it's way much scarier, focusing a lot more on Alma and new locations, like the school. The third game I compared it a lot to Dead Space 3 because they show a lot of similarities. you know, focusing a lot more on action, the co-op, and not the horror part. While the second game focuses a lot more horror and showed you true meaning of fear, a genuine horror, unlike this game. But like I said over and over again, the gameplay is excellent, everything else is just minor. Well, I've been AnimersiveXP, and I've talked about pretty much what I want to talk about. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hopefully you see me in the next video. Bye bye.
You will be a god among men. Take her back to the vault.